recession risks are on the rise.
Risk of recession.
Real risk that we're going to see a slowdown.
This slowdown that we're witnessing in the global economy is coming quicker.
Recession.
Technical recession.
Odds of a global recession have really risen.
Yes, what a few of us thought would happen could be happening now. A global recession might be on its way, and that's terrifying. I say a few of us because all I'd heard from the mainstream media leading up to this point was how great the economy was doing based on unemployment figures that don't factor in starvation wages and underemployment, and also based on stock numbers when stock isn't owned by half of Americans. 5 months ago, I warned of a recession under Trump because of stock buybacks, a formerly illegal practice that is now allowed so companies can inflate their value and CEOs can enrich themselves, and that it's giving the economy a sugar high. I also warned of the yield curve inverting, one of the top warning signs of a recession. The curve inverted yesterday, the second time since March, so here we go. And now the New York Times is reporting that because of Trump's trade war, the economies of China and Germany, two enormous parts of the global economy, are headed for a recession. Buckle up. In ominous signs of the damage being done by the trade war between China and the United States, data released on Wednesday indicated that the German economy is hurtling toward recession and that growth at Chinese factories is slowing at a pace not seen in almost 2 decades. China is the world's largest exporter of goods and services, just ahead of the United States, and Germany is number 3. Both have been countries hit directly by President Trump's tariffs and more broadly by the disruption to the global economy that the trade conflict has caused. What blows my mind is that the rest of the Republicans didn't even want these tariffs. They thought a trade war would be terrible, largely for the reason of appeasing their donors and/or enriching themselves, but still. Part of the reason that former Goldman Sachs executive Gary Cohn resigned from the administration was because he was so against the tariffs. But Trump persisted, so one could say that, at least in part, you can lay the potential global recession at the feet of one man. U.S. stocks plummeted Wednesday after the inverted yield curve, one of the most reliable indicators of a recession, sparked a new wave of investor fears, erasing the short-lived bubble from Tuesday's trade easing. For the first time since 2007, the yields on short-term U.S. bonds eclipsed those of long-term bonds. This phenomenon, which suggests investors' faith in the economy is faltering, has preceded every recession in the past 50 years. Recessions typically come within 18 to 24 months after an extended yield curve inversion, according to research from Credit Suisse. So Trump is feeling the heat. On Tuesday, he announced that his administration would be postponing a 10% tariff on China on consumer items like laptops and cell phones until December. Tariffs are not necessarily a bad thing, but the way Trump has been going about them has been haphazard, disastrous, and childish. It's merely a way for him to feel tough and throw red meat to his base by looking like he's really giving China the business, when in fact it's purely reckless policy designed to achieve no specific end. And put that on top of the deregulation that our government, in a bipartisan fashion, has implemented in regards to Wall Street, it's a toxic mixture. Elizabeth Warren correctly predicted the Great Recession way ahead of experts years before it happened, before she was even a senator. Last month, she wrote about how another one was on its way. She warns 71 million American adults, more than 30% of the adults in the country, already have debts in collection. Families may be able to afford these debt payments now, but an increase in interest rates or a shutdown in income could plunge families over a cliff. Corporations are also deeply in debt. Leverage lending to companies that are already seriously in debt, has jumped by 40% since Trump took office, spreading systemic risk throughout our financial system. High-risk loans now make up a quarter of all American business loans, and they look a lot like the pre-2008 subprime mortgages, poorly underwritten loans with minimal protections that are then packaged and sold to investors. The administration may breach the debt ceiling in September, leading to economic turmoil that top economists say would be more catastrophic than the collapse of Lehman Brothers in 2008. Trump's trade war with China threatens American manufacturing and has already hurt American companies that investors think of as industry bellwethers, while feeding an all-time economic slowdown in China that could have dramatic ripple effects on the American economy. She wrote that last month. All of that is incredibly true. These are all deeply serious problems, and they require serious solutions from regulators. But the Trump administration and his corrupt cronies are asleep at the wheel, on purpose, to appease corporate America, Wall Street, and big money donors. Most experts predict an economic crash by 2021, but some even say 2020. There isn't much time to right the ship, but there still is some. And Trump isn't going to right the ship. I mean, lending to companies in debt. He was in debt multiple times. He's very sympathetic to that. So righting the ship means a progressive president in 2020. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.